Welcome to the spectacular Northwest Territories. My name is Sarah, but my friends call me Moose, and this is AJ.
Today we're going to talk about paddling in the Northwest Territories, a world of racing rivers, placid lakes, and spectacular waters. You can canoe your way to the Arctic Ocean, raft the whitewater rapids of the Nahanni River, kayak to a hidden camping spot along the cliffs of Great Slave Lake, or paddleboard through one of Canada's coolest neighborhoods on Yellowknife's Houseboat Bay. The possibilities of paddling adventures in the NWT are endless, no matter your experience or paddling abilities.
People have traveled by canoe in the north since time immemorial. Before there were roads, people used a network of rivers and lakes as the highway. From the Barrenlands tundra in the east to the Mackenzie Mountains in the west, all the way up to the Arctic Ocean at the top of the world. Today, these historic waters draw canoeists, kayakers, whitewater rafters, and paddleboarders from all around the world.
Today we're going to cover the 3 types of paddling in the NWT: canoeing and kayaking, rafting, and stand-up paddleboarding. Canoeing and kayaking is the most scenic way to immerse yourself in the landscape and experience a spectacular part of the world. Whether you want to challenge yourself with a wild mountain river or just relax by a northern lake, there's a canoeing and kayaking adventure waiting for you.
To this day, people in the north canoe and kayak on the historic waters of the NWT for recreation, to travel between communities, and just to get out and reconnect with the land. Here, the historic canoe routes follow the paddle strokes of Indigenous people and travelers that have known them for centuries. They provide unforgettable canoeing and kayaking experiences. In every region in the NWT, you can find famous lakes and rivers known for their spectacular canoeing and kayaking. In the NWT, you're never far from a body of water to launch your canoe or kayak into. It's easy to rent equipment for a day trip to get out on the water with your canoe or kayak, either from Yellowknife or many of the other communities in the north. From here, you can get your feet wet, but the biggest adventures are out on the spectacular waters of the NWT. Whether you're paddling solo or tandem, whitewater or flat, most NWT canoeing and kayaking adventures happen in one of 3 categories: mountain, Arctic, and Barrenland.
Most mountain paddling adventures happen in the magnificent Mackenzie Mountains, which wind through the Sawtooth and the Decho regions, along with many beautiful vistas in the north. Here, our legendary rivers will challenge you with rapids for whitewater paddling. The South Nahanni River in the Nahanni National Park Reserve is famous for its grandeur. The Slave River in the South Slave region attracts whitewater enthusiasts from all around the world. And the Liard River, Keel River, and Mountain River are just a few names on the must-see list for any paddler that can appreciate their history. For lesser experienced paddlers, a guide can take you through the remarkable routes in the mountains that are not only rewarding, but also memorable for novices and experts alike. Multi-day paddling trips can offer many cool experiences, like hiking the mountains, fishing from the shores, seeing unique wildlife, and relaxing under the beautiful aurora before you start another day on your mountain paddling adventure.
Very few people will be able to say they've touched the Arctic Ocean, and even fewer have launched from the northern shores to paddle closer to the top of the world. A paddling trip in the Western Arctic will immerse you in a completely different world to see a remarkable way of living. Whereas daily life has remained rooted in traditional ways, getting out on an Arctic paddling trip will let you fully disconnect from the modern world. You'll have the opportunity to paddle between islands and coasts that have been crossed for centuries.
The Barrenlands is the expansive eastern part of the Northwest Territories. It's one of the most pristine and remote places left on Earth. Paddling through the Barrenlands can be as varied as the landscape itself. Paddle past the colossal red cliffs of Taidenenene, or between the rolling sandy eskers of the Thelon River. The Barrenlands is a uniquely northern and Canadian landscape for your paddling adventure, and a world-class canoe destination for wildlife viewing. Here you will see muskox, moose, caribou, and even bears on an endless horizon. If you're a paddling enthusiast that wants to adventure on your own, you can find paddling outfitters in hubs like Yellowknife to rent or purchase paddling gear. If you're more of a team player, rafting will be right up your alley. There's nothing quite like the shared experience of rafting down wild white water in the Northwest Territories. From the renowned Nahanni to the edges of the Arctic Ocean, the NWT is arguably home to Canada's best river adventures of all skill levels. Rafting tours can bring you deep into the heart of the NWT on any of the interconnected waterways that run from Great Slave Lake, out east into the open Barrenlands, west through the Mackenzie Mountains, or further north to the Arctic Ocean itself. Let's talk about the different adventures waiting for you in every corner of the NWT.
There's nothing better than a scenic rafting tour in Nahanni Park Reserve if you want to experience the iconic rivers of the NWT, but seek more support than a canoe or a kayak. You can sit back on your sturdy raft as you float past towering waterfalls, eerie limestone rock formations, and judge for yourself why the Nahanni is so special. With awesome 150-meter tall canyon walls and thundering falls, the South Nahanni isn't a river you want to do on your own as a beginner, but your experienced river guides help you tackle it with ease. Next, from Norman Wells, head out to explore the Keel River, whose 320 kilometers run of turquoise water takes you through the lofty Mackenzie Mountains and along rugged, jaw-dropping shorelines. Along the way, you'll see hawks, eagles, as well as some wildlife like moose, Dall sheep, caribou, and even grizzly bears. Tour operators also pull up for some fly fishing and hiking around the area.
On the Slave River near Fort Smith, raft tours lead you to relaxing pools and through frothing whitewater. If you're in Fort Smith in early August, the annual Slave River Paddle Fest, hosted by the Fort Smith Paddling Club, also includes raft rides in addition to a host of other activities on the river. On a rafting tour on the Coppermine River that empties into the Arctic Ocean, you cross the Arctic Circle and visit an old portage site to Great Bear Lake. No matter your skill level, you'll find opportunities for an unforgettable rafting experience. If a casual, relaxing paddle is more your thing, stand-up paddling or paddleboarding is perfect for calm waters and is an easily accessible way of traversing the waterways of the Northwest Territories. Spend an afternoon paddling across the waters of the NWT to a private camping spot or experience the orange-hued skies on a summer evening, all along the quiet surface of one of the NWT's amazing waterways. Stand-up paddling is a far less challenging form of paddling and is growing as popular as the other forms. Around the territory, outfitters offer paddleboard equipment rentals, and many lodges and cabins have paddleboarding gear for you to use. Either way, it's easy to get out on a paddleboard in the NWT.
For example, in Yellowknife, it's easy to gear up, take a paddleboarding class, and get out onto the waters of Yellowknife Bay in Old Town, among its many colorful houseboats. A scenic and quiet paddleboard in Yellowknife's most vibrant community is a great way to tour the area and experience life on the waterfront in the capital city. Depending when you're visiting, you might want to try your luck in the Samba Cay Paddling Club's annual race around Old Town's Latham Island. You'll find paddleboard rentals for rent at the waterfronts of many communities, including Yellowknife, Fort Simpson, Norman Wells, Tuktoyaktuk, and Inuvik, as well as the parks like Wood Buffalo National Park.
Now, if at this point you're thinking, AJ, this seems way too intense, I've only watched my friend paddleboard from the dock. Don't worry about it. Just take a breath, stop. We got you. So do our tour operators.
The waterways of the Northwest Territories are the perfect place to find your love for paddling. If you're a novice paddler, the placid lakes and serene rivers of the north are just as beautiful as the more challenging options. Whether you're renting a paddleboard to tour Yellowknife's Houseboat Bay, kayaking out to a hidden picnic spot, or joining a multi-day canoe trip through any of the unique landscapes of the NWT, don't be intimidated. Guided canoe and rafting trips make many of the territory's spectacular lakes and rivers an adventurous, rewarding, but very safe experience for novices and beginners.
And if you're one of those more experienced paddlers who basically lives with a paddle in your hand, boy, did you come to the right place. The legendary lakes and renowned rivers of the Northwest Territories are at the top of the bucket list for any experienced canoeist, whitewater rafter, or kayaker. Take your pick of challenging whitewater rapids or meandering journeys across the most remote regions left on the continent. You can find paddling trips from 4 to 16 days through the most remarkable and historic landscapes in the world.
The sheer variety of canoeing, kayaking, and rafting trips in the NWT is enough to keep lifelong paddlers dreaming of their next great northern adventure. Now that you know all about the different paddling options available to you in the Northwest Territories, all that's left to do is get ready for an adventure of a lifetime. Booking with one of the many amazing tour operators here will make this step an absolute breeze.
When taking a multi-day trip, don't worry, your tour operator will bring things like comfortable camping chairs, tables, spacious tents, and many other luxuries that will make your wild paddling and camping experience unlike any other you've been on before. Tour operators hold nothing back when it comes to food. Your guides will bring coolers with plenty of fresh food and will be capable of catering to all sorts of different dietary preferences and allergies. You can also take advantage of the spectacular fishing for some delicious, freshly cooked fish right on the shore.
When it comes to bringing clothes and gear, comfort is key. You'll want to make sure to bring shorts, possibly a pair of durable pants, t-shirts, sunglasses, and a hat to protect yourself from the sun. A sweatshirt may be a good inclusion for those taking an adventure through the tundra or Western Arctic. Waterproof shoes would also be key. Your tour operator will provide you with any waterproof overalls you may need. You may also want to bring your own sleeping bag and sleeping pad. All other paddling gear and camping equipment is provided for you. For any expeditions that take place further northeast on the tundra, such as the Horton or Coppermine rivers, mosquitoes and black flies are crazy, but are easily managed. For these expeditions, your tour operator will bring along a bug enclosure that's large enough to fit the whole group. We also recommend that you bring a bug jacket that has a head covering, like AJ here.
While your paddling expedition may be in some of the most remote, pristine wilderness areas left on the planet, these ecosystems are important safe havens for a whole wide array of wild species, including bears, wolves, muskox, moose, and caribou. While it's common that any wildlife you'll encounter will be quite timid, it's important to treat these animals with incredible respect, especially bears. Safety precautions for wildlife encounters will be explained to you by your tour operator before setting off on your trip so you can just enjoy these amazing encounters when they happen. The Northwest Territories is where you will find the scenic Canadian paddling adventure of a lifetime and the wildest whitewater paddling destinations. With endless opportunities to see spectacular northern wildlife, the world's best aurora, and the timeless beauty of the northern landscapes, it's no wonder why the Northwest Territories has a legendary reputation for life-changing paddling trips.
For more details, operator listings, and booking information, visit our website, spectacularnwt.com. We look forward to seeing you on your next epic paddling adventure.